everybody. On behalf of the Kollel, thank you very much for joining us for our Rosh Chodesh dinner, which, strangely enough, is on Rosh Chodesh this month. We would like to thank Uncle Murray and his crew for providing a beautiful meal. We would like to thank the Rabhan Mishpacha for sponsoring tonight's dinner in honor of the Shloshim. Thank you to John and his crew as well for setup and cleanup. And without further ado, I would like to call on tonight's speaker, who would like to say words of remembrance in honor of the Shloshim, my mother, Mora Esther Rabhan.
Hey, where'd you come from?
On the way. Turn it up, is it loud?
I'm on the way.
It was about 2 months ago that I saw my father. And it's not because I was hallucinating, and it's not because I have a great ghost story to tell you. About 2 months ago, the last Friday that my father-in-law spent with us, it was one of those Savannah storms where schools called off, businesses closed, and everyone was waiting for their electricity to go off, but not me, because our wiring is underground. And that meant that the Rabhans were not going to lose their electricity. But just in case, I did spend Thursday night and Friday morning preparing for Shabbos, and then I spent most of the rest of the day with my father-in-law. It was fascinating about spending time with an individual who's not feeling well, who's very uncomfortable, who's reaching out and asking those around him to please help, please make him comfortable. What's fascinating is when that individual, in their worst moment of discomfort, can turn to those around them and beg and plead for help and say please. Not once in all the days that I spent with my father-in-law did he once not say please when he asked for a drink, when he asked for food, or when he asked for help. And that will stay with me for a long time. Because my father-in-law was so uncomfortable, and he'd float in and out of being aware of exactly what day it was, or not aware of what day it was. There were even moments when he went back in time, before my time. He'd speak about things that just weren't relevant to that day. His discomfort bothered me the most. And throughout the day Friday, I kept calling Freddie and I said, please, let me stay with Dad tonight. It's Shabbos. They won't be able to get in touch with us if he's uncomfortable. We're not going to walk there during the night. Please, just let me stay with him. It'll make me feel better. But of course, with Freddie's genuine care and concern for his wife, he said, no, I don't want you to. And then around 6 o'clock, I get a call at the hospital. You have to come home right now. I said, why? He said, because we've lost our electricity. I said, that's impossible. Forget the fact that our wiring's underground. The windstorm, it's over. It's been over. There's nothing moving, nothing blowing. He said, could you please come home now? He said, we need to transfer all our food over to Ephraim and Sabranas. We were even having guests. So I went home, I rushed home, and I started taking all the food out to the car. I think Freddie brought one pan. And I took the food over to Ephraim and Sabranas. She said, I'll take care of it, don't worry. And I went home and I realized I'm running out of time. I gotta hurry up and get ready for Shabbos. I jumped in the shower, I got out, and I thought to myself, I'm going to give this one more pitch. So I said to Freddie, do me a favor, just for me. You're what? You love me. With a clear head, give it one more thought, and please let me go to the hospital. He said, okay. Okay. He said, yeah, okay, I'll let you go. I said, really? He said, yeah, sure. Great, thank you so much. So I hurried up to throw some things together, and just as I was finishing up, I realized I hadn't eaten all day. I was starving. Sabrina's got all my food. So suddenly I had this craving for a cheese sandwich. I don't know why. Craving for a cheese sandwich. So I thought, I'll hurry, I'll get all my stuff together, I'll go make a couple of cheese sandwiches, and I'll be on my way. This is what I want to do. Freddie comes walking into the room. He's all smiles, looking proud of himself. He said, I put some food together for you. So of course I'm thinking, there goes the cheese sandwich. He says, I have 4 of Murray's challah rolls that you love. And I do. I love Uncle Murray's challah rolls. And a box of Life cereal. I confess, so he looks good, I happen to love Life cereal. So I thanked him with all my heart. I went, I lit my candles, having in mind that I was not going to take Shabbos upon myself until I got to the hospital. I'm rushing along because Freddie's telling me, you're running out of time, you got to get going. So I go, I park, and I'm literally jogging to get to my father-in-law's room. I get to the elevator, and in the corner of my eye, the vending machine catches my eye. I'm not exactly a vending machine lover, but there was this little red bag with these little yellow squares that caught my eye. So I quickly bought 2 bags of Cheez-Its. And I promise you, I did not put them in between Uncle Murray's rolls to pretend I was having a cheese sandwich. I get up to the room, put everything away, take a deep breath, and I accepted Shabbos. And I did. I did what I did every time that I went and had the privilege of being the only one in my father-in-law's room. Pulled up a chair, and I just sat next to him. And suddenly, no surprise to you now, the tears just came rolling. And I wasn't crying and I wasn't upset because all the rest of my family was having a good time at Ephraim and Sabrina's and they were all together, and here I was alone. I was right where I wanted to be. And as much as I wanted to be there, I knew that within moments, my father-in-law, who was resting peacefully, comfortably, was going to wake up, and he wasn't going to be comfortable. He was going to be uncomfortable. Whether he was in pain or whether he was frustrated because he wasn't sure what day it was, he wasn't going to be a happy person. And what was I going to do? The big shot. He wanted to be there with him. What was I going to do? When Yosef was in Mitzrayim, and he was in the palace of Potiphar, Potiphar's wife made numerous advances towards Yosef, to the point that we're told Yosef began to falter. He began to weaken against her advances. So what did he do? He had to find a way, to find the strength to fight her off. And the sages tell us that suddenly there appeared an image of Yosef's father. He saw Yaakov. Now 25 years ago, when I would teach these verses to my students, I would say to them, how is it possible that all of a sudden there was an image of Yosef's father? They didn't have movie cameras in those days. They didn't have Polaroids in those days. If I said that today, they would look at me and say, Esther, were you born with the dinosaurs? So today I would have to say to my students, there were no iPhone 7s when Yosef was in Egypt. So how is it possible that suddenly there was an image of Yosef's father? So our sages explain to us that that image of Yosef's father appeared because Yosef brought that image to his mind. Why? Because Yosef knew if he looked into the eyes of his father, he'd be reminded of all the Torah mitzvahs that his father had taught him. And upon remembering those precious moments of learning with his father, his spiritual strength would be rejuvenated. And it was. And he was able to thwart off the advances of Potiphar's wife. So I brought up an image of my father. I looked to my father and I said, my father-in-law is vacillating between my world and yours. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make him comfortable. I don't know what to do. And suddenly my father took me back to the day before he passed away. When my son Baruch and I were sitting in his room, and I don't remember if we were just sitting and visiting, we were just present, or we were talking to him. But I do remember suddenly, while sitting on the edge of his bed, those tears rolling down my cheek. And my father put his hand on mine, and he said, Ketzela, don't cry. I've had a good life. And then he was gone. He disappeared, that vision of my father. So I turned to my father-in-law and I said, Dad, you've lived a good life. You, not only by words, but by example, every day, every moment of your life, built a legacy for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great-grandchildren. And that legacy was a lesson. It can't be replaced except to be learned. And that lesson was, life is good. Life is a blessing. Every minute, every moment of life is a gift. It's a precious gift. And more importantly, it's a gift from the Almighty Himself. My father-in-law left a legacy to his children, his grandchildren. Not that a cup is half full. Your cup is full. Your cup might be shaky, but your cup is full. Because in every moment, no matter what challenge may come your way, if you're living that moment, then you're living life. You're experiencing the gift, the greatest gift that Hashem has given you. That's a legacy that's hard to pass on from one generation to the next. I've been fortunate to have two father figures that lived and breathed that life is good. And if I can just take a thimble of how much they appreciated life, of how much my father-in-law gave over to each and every one of his children and to every person that knew him. Live your life knowing, believing, accepting, realizing that life is good. And in that moment that you live life knowing it's good, you bring honor to the Almighty. You bring honor to your parents. You bring honor to your grandparents. You bring honor into the world. For all those people who took time from their busy schedules, even though you had an extra month, to learn Mishnayos, to benefit the neshama, the soul of my father-in-law, his soul, his neshama should be uplifted to even greater heights in Shemayim. And to those same people who took time from their day to learn on behalf of this individual, I can only hope and pray that somewhere along the way, if not every moment that you were learning, the life of this individual touched your soul.
Just to echo what my mother said, we do owe a big yasher koach to the entire community. With the help and the efforts of everybody involved, we were able to finish the entire Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, the entire 6 volumes of Mishnayos, in honor of the Shloshim. Omar Reb Shimon ben Chalafta